according to the explained items. Here we can use these values for the number of the steps, riser depth or width, and also the tread in the basement, in parks, streets, exhibitions, the stairs inside the buildings or outside the buildings. For instance, in outside, the angle should be 24-25 degrees, and then the tread depth is 32 to 34, and the height of the steps or riser is 15. So let us model this. Since stairs are very important in Revit, so here for actual tread depth, as it was between 32 and 34, we specify 33 centimeters. Then I open Excel. So 33, and I open edit type, and then I duplicate a new type. Then I specify the maximum riser height 15 or 150 millimeters, and then for a minimum tread depth we specify 300. Well done. We get back to this part. Here, as we mentioned, it should be at least, at most 15. If I specify 26, here it is not supported, but 28 is better. Then the actual riser height is less than the maximum, and the actual tread depth. And then I want to calculate the angle. So 142.9 and 302. I want to multiply A1 into 2, and then I add it to 320. Here in edit type, I want to define 605.8 like this way. Then I click on OK, apply, and OK. Then I start drawing the stairs, 14 steps like this way. Then we specify 1100 for actual width, 1100. Again, run. I continue it. Then I click on finish. Then in this section view, I want to measure the angular dimension. Angular, watch this, 24.06 degrees. Let me check here, between 24 to 25. So your calculations are correct, and that we can use these standards and rules, and these are very important and they must be considered. And after understanding the importance of these settings, that we have to adjust them before modeling, let me duplicate another type. Okay, and for the maximum 180, and in this part for the interior stairs, as you can see, the tread depth between 28 to 30 and riser 17. I want to consider this between 28 to 30 and 17 for the riser value, 170, 300s, and 1100s for actual run wide, 23 or 24. It is less than 17. Then we can do the calculation in a stair calculator. Here if I define 16.67 and 300 millimeters, then the result will be 633.4. Okay, let's see. Then I start drawing the stairs. we specify the first point and the second point. Watch this. 12 is remaining, and then I release it. I specify the offset, we change the location line, and then we draw the other side, a U-shape stair. Afterwards we click on finish to save the changes. Then the 3D view, I delete the others stairs. I want to align it with the walls. However, there are some points that you have to put them into consideration, and they should be considered. Let me move this stair 1 meter and 10 centimeters for the width, and also at the other side, and 2 centimeters offset, or 20 centimeters actually. Let me see. These are okay. So the total will be 2 meters and 40 centimeters. Watch this. And these are the stringers actually. Watch this. Right here. And we got 2 stringers for each of these stairs. That the distance between 2 stringers is the width of this stair. And the total is 2400. And note that while we are working with Revit, this distance or width is the preoccupied space by the stairs. However, in the continuation we're gonna add the finish layer to the walls. And if we do not consider this, if we do not consider the thickness of the finish layer, and the wall should be joined with the column, and then we're gonna add the finish layer to the wall, and 2 meters and 40 for the stairs. However, these issues are usually considered in execution and performing the building, but here we are only working with the software, but I try to mention some points. Anyway, so if I suppose that I got concrete columns, structural columns, concrete, like this way, but we'll talk about these in our practical project. Let me add these columns, these 2. I separate these, or I can delete the walls. Then I select wall, core face exterior, and then I add it with the 5 centimeters offset. Core face interior, right here, like this way. Watch this again from this point, like this way. And this enables us, if I want to model the stairs, and we have to consider the distance between the stairs and walls for the finished layer. Let me see. 4 and 4 to wrap the finished layer. So later we won't have problems even after adding the finished layer. Anyway, here we got the stairs modeled, and the path of the stair is specified. However, here the path is deleted since we have moved it for once. Let me draw this, a new stair. If I select the stair and then I move it, then I enable disjoin, and as you remember, when we disjoin an element, we are deleting that element and creating a new element. Watch this. It is deleted. So here again from the annotate tab, in symbol panel, we got a stair path. Then we click on the stairs to just show the direction and the path, the stair path, like this way. Then we just want to adjust these settings and explain them comprehensively from A to Z. However, we got several properties and settings for the stairs, that we got different settings for each, for run, for tread, for path, that we want to cover them one by one separately in the next sessions.